Well, welcome to my Military Appreciation Month celebration. I'm Lacey Langford, the military money expert. I help the military community make, save, and invest money wisely. The military is super important to me. I grew up in the military. I was an Army brat. I served in the Air Force, and I'm a military spouse. Plus, I'm really into personal finance. And I love helping the military community improve their finances. Throughout the month of May, I am going to be doing a series of events that will provide value and appreciation to the military community. I'll be doing a live show every Monday, Wednesday, Friday throughout the month, where I'll do fun interviews about military life, money, and entrepreneurship. Every Tuesday, I'll be hosting a fun giveaway. And on Thursday, I'll be releasing a how-to video on various topics through this month. So there is a lot coming, so you're going to need to stay tuned. You can find out the latest of what's going on all my activities if you find and follow me on social media. Support for my Military Appreciation Month celebration comes from Self. With Self, you can open a credit builder account, pay monthly on time to build positive payment history. You can visit Self.inc to learn more. Make sure you check them out. All right, it is time to get this party started. My guest today is Meredith Neal. Meredith is a 21-year military spouse and founder of the Mil Spouse Small Business, which is a popular Facebook group for fellow Mil Spouse business owners to connect and support each other through their entrepreneurial journey. She recently developed a website hub for Mil Spouse entrepreneurial resources, tools, stories, and that was a tongue tie. Professional development opportunities. So wherever you are watching, clap super, super loud and give Meredith a big welcome. Meredith, welcome to Live with Lacey.
Thank you, Lacey. So nice to meet you finally.
Yes, yes. And I'm really excited to have you on because we actually connected somehow online. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not even sure. Was it through initially the group? I believe that's how it was. Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't putting my foot in my mouth.
No, so we have a mutual friend, Tanya Rockhurst, and I had shared one of your podcasts on a mutual group that Tanya and I are in a couple of years ago. And Tanya responded and said, Lacey's the real deal. And so it was always kind of in my back pocket one day that I wanted to meet you. And so I was just waiting for that card to throw to Tanya to be like, hey, could you introduce me to Lacey?
Yes. Well, and that's a small military world. So fun fact, our husbands were stationed at Fort Benning, and that's how we met. So, and two, that was really, we had been in the Air Force going to the Army. So Benning was really a big start for us in our military career in the Army. So fond memories there. But yes, it's a small military world.
It's true. It's true.
Yes. So, well, I want to start this off with telling us a little bit about yourself, because we are just getting to know each other, which is normally sometimes I know people a little bit better, but I feel like we do know each other because we've been connected online a lot.
A little bit, yeah.
For everybody else, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my husband was in the military with the Army for 21 years. He retired last August. We were very fortunate to be able to retire where we grew up in Kansas City. So we are in the local Kansas City area. We have 2 teenagers. I always say my teenagers remind me every day that they're smarter than me. They probably are. And I spent a lot of years, as most military spouses do, trying to make this military life work for our family and for my career. So I did a lot of teaching. I taught so that I could be there for when my kids were out of school. And we moved to Japan in 2017, and I convinced somehow the chapel there to let me manage their budget, and they let me. So that kind of launched a different type of career path for me. And I'm currently working for a financial advisor, doing all of his back-end work and helping our clients, in addition to the Mil Spouse group. So it's been a wonderful ride, and I have enjoyed all of it.
I love how the chapel was willing to give up the budget. I feel like that was an easy decision for them. They're like, somebody else wants to do it.
Well, I always tell people I loved accounting when I was in high school, and one of those things where you just don't have the confidence to really go for it in college. And but I always loved doing it, and I loved budgeting. And we were there, and I was volunteering for the chapel, and the budget manager was leaving, and she's like, "Hey, you should do this." And my husband really encouraged me. He's like, you should just try it. And so the first question they asked me was, do you have any professional experience doing this? And I said, I don't. I don't. But they took a chance on me, and it was a fantastic experience.
That's a great place to start, somewhere where they have to be forgiving.
That's right, exactly. Like, well, we can't yell at her. So
you guys are kind of messing up your brand if you don't forgive my mess ups.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yes. Well, but that's a great way to start. I feel like when you're learning that, actually somebody said this to me once, that you need to go to a place where you can practice and be bad, where it's not on such a big stage or where the stakes are higher. And every time I've given free presentations or volunteer work for coaching, I always think that, this is a good way for me to work out the kinks in my process or get some confidence in my public speaking. And the biggest thing that I loved about practicing public speaking where it was free, especially in front of the military community, is that's a rough crowd. Like they're already there. So I got really good at handling what I call hecklers. People that want to test your financial knowledge or just try to embarrass you. And that was probably the best experience I had in public speaking. It's like, okay, well, at least these people aren't going to yell at me.
Nope. That's right. Exactly. They're not going to.
Yes. Well, so that's interesting. So now you're working for a financial advisor. That leads kind of into my next question is, what made you to just decide to start this Facebook group? Because I think it's a pretty cool resource and very awesome, friendly, welcoming group focused on small business for military spouses. So what made you start that?
Well, through the years, right, we go through 15, 20 years of being in the military, and you meet these amazing spouses that are doing just really amazing things. And you think I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, my friend over here writes cookbooks and people should know about her. But the problem is, and this was really when Facebook was getting started, you're in all these Facebook groups. So you're in a spouses group on a base. But the problem is you can't share your business because nobody wants you to take advantage of those members of the group and try to make money. And so it really just came out of, okay, let's create a space where you can share about your business and you can tell people. And then if you're looking for somebody who does something, you can go on and ask and let people market themselves. And that really just kind of started a chain reaction. We started with a directory. So let's put a directory together. So we did, very rudimentary on Google Docs. And then I thought, well, the directory is one thing, but we really don't know these people. So let's add a feature where we really get to know who these business owners are. And then that kind of spread into, I listen to a ton of podcasts and I think, well, gosh, so-and-so needs to hear about this. And why don't we create then some resources and then we can utilize our own community to use the resources that they provide. So I've shared a couple of your podcasts with the members of the group, like, hey, Lacey just did this great podcast on budgeting in a business. Take this. Don't go out and search for it. We've got this community built in right here who can provide that. And so it really just has snowballed. And I try to add something new every day just to kind of keep it relevant for people. And I'm really proud of the work that we are doing on that page. And I'm really proud of the fact that everyone has been so supportive.
Yes, I love the page. I think it's very helpful in things that I do. I am intentional. I do remember what it was like and still is. I'm still trying to, build and grow a business.
Yeah.
But when I was really starting out and not understanding maybe the complete playing field or what the position I wanted to play on the field. And
right.
Just trying to get my name out there, it's really hard and it's discouraging sometimes. And so that's what I think is really cool about this group is that you do have that ability to share your information, but also be supported. And like you said, get the resources and tools because you are trying to drink through a fire hose, building a business. And the more you can take off that learning curve makes it easier to start to focus on the things that are going to make you money. Because if not, like this is a volunteer gig, but
right.
So I like that. But as me too, as I'm growing my business and, figuring out like I can't do everything myself, when I hire, I need to hire from within the military community because my audience is military. That's something that I don't have really the time to school somebody else up on.
Right.
There's a lot of understood and some things that I you just sometimes can't explain about the
No,
military community. It's just the way it is. And if you don't
it's
know it,
true.
you don't know it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that why I need to hire from within the military community, is because you understand the language, you understand what, will resonate, what won't, because there are some things that you just don't do in the military versus somebody might, in the civilian world think that's okay. So that's also what's awesome about this group is I do that. I hunt for people.
Yeah. Well, this person would be good at this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like for example, one thing that I'm really need to sort out is graphic design. So, redoing my logos, and now I have different events and brands underneath my main brand, and so I
Yeah.
need to do all this stuff. It's going to be a massive effort, and so to me, it's like I need somebody that is really great at graphic design, but really understands the military community, and like something
Right.
that would be considered cheesy in the military versus somebody else might think, oh, that's a really great idea for military.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Well, and I should really put a shout out to Josie Depew is on our page, and she's a graphic designer and she makes jewelry. And she really was the one that helped me get that website started. And it's going to take us a while to get it built. But I really reached out to her. I said, look, I don't know how to make a website. I have messed with this website builder and I just can't get it to work. And she said, send me the stuff and I'll help you. And so, and that was just I've never even met her. I've talked to her on the phone and texted with her, and just the amount of support I think that you find in this community is amazing.
I love that. That's first of all, that's great to know her name, but
Yeah.
also that that's goodwill that you laid down. Like you don't forget. Like you just
Right.
don't forget people that do those kindnesses to you. On the other side, you don't forget also to people that try to tear you down.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But you also want to support those people and give them more action and put a spotlight on them because
Yeah.
they were willing to help you build your thing. So I love that.
Yeah.
What has been the most surprising part about starting this group? Because I can imagine you had in the intention of starting it. What's been some amazing things or interesting things that have come out of it?
Well, I think, two things that I have found really surprising and amazing. A is how supportive this community is. I cannot tell you the number of people that I have just emailed who did not know me. Felicity Hall from AMC, Monica Fullerton from Spousely did not know me. And I'm emailing them, hey, can you join our group? Hey, I really think you could add some value here. And people who are so kind of their time too, even you included, to be able to fill out the little get to know you, and people ask questions and people come back and respond. I think a couple weeks ago, I just posted the question, hey, what do you need help with? And a girl posted, said, hey, I'm trying to take these pictures of these flowers. What can I do to make it better? And I tagged 5 photographers, and within 2 hours, she had 5 different answers of suggestions to help her. Now that probably would have taken her 3 hours on her own just to research and look up. And so this was not out of, nobody's looking at this as somebody's taking my competition. It's genuinely, let me help you. And I think that has been amazing. I don't know in the civilian community if I would get as many people that have offered their time. And then I think just from a business standpoint, we have some amazing spouses. We have, one of our spouses, Kimberly Dolce, she runs a fabric business. So she puts together different types of fabric, swatches and patterns that kind of go together. And then her customers order from her. Well, I went on her Facebook group, and Lacey, she has 9,000 members in her group.
Wow.
This is a mil spouse who has restarted this business at 4 different duty stations. The wealth of knowledge that she has in terms of starting a business and then growing this business to 9,000 in her Facebook group. And she's on my list. I've emailed with her a couple times. She took the month of April off and just reopened her shop. So I'm hoping to get her back on to get some tips from her, because that's amazing. You think about just the fabric side of it, of what she's doing, but then she's also starting and stopping this thing every time she moves. So I can't wait to be able to gain stuff from her and be able to share that.
I love that. I think in the military community, we really get rising tides lift all ships.
Yes.
And so it's, however you can help out, like that's going to help you out in the long run. And I think that we definitely get that. And everybody's their own. So you may be
Yes.
doing it, we may be doing the exact same thing, but I'm my own person, you're your own person, you're gonna have your own personality and your own twist on it, your own
Yes.
creativity that, I might not have, or, an experience. But I love the fact that I don't like it for her, but I think it's awesome that she has kept at it and is, shut down shop one place, reopened in another place multiple times. So I know that she has a wealth of knowledge right there on
Yeah.
the nuances of what that takes.
She really does. And if you go on her Facebook group, she has a whole explanation, and she shared on our page one time too. Here's kind of the things that you need to think about. Here's a person to contact who does tax information. Look in your state for these rules. I mean, she really had it laid out because people have really gone to her and said, hey, how did you do this? So I can't wait to learn from her more.
Yes, especially too, if she has a product-based business, she has inventory. And
Yes.
so you got to move that inventory as well. So,
Yeah.
and I know that has something to do with, your weight limit. Like she's probably got that all figured out. So you're right. She is a wealth of knowledge probably for
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
what are some common themes that you're seeing in the group as it relates to small business owners and military spouses? Is it the moving your business? Is it getting started? Like what are some same things?
So I think kind of what I've seen on this page is the marketing standpoint is, people are so busy getting their product together, getting their service together, but at the same time as a business owner, right, you still have to market it. You still have to pay your bills. We posted, I think part of that post I did a couple weeks ago that said, hey, what do you need help with? I think we may have had 15 or 20 comments, but at least 10, I think, were, I need help marketing. I don't know how, which should I use? Instagram? Should I use LinkedIn? And that was actually about the same time that we had Anna Larson of Nomad About. They were doing a video every single day in April, and they are social media marketers. So we were able to go in and just pull some of her videos to share and be able to say like, hey, marketing, this is really hard. And here's a resource already in our group that you can go to. So that I think has been the biggest is getting started. Like, how do you register LLC, sole proprietorship? People aren't sure about that and looking for resources on that. And then I think the marketing part too is, as you know, you're doing this for yourself as well, right? Marketing is part of your business, and that takes away from you doing a financial plan for somebody. So you've got to set time aside for that. And people are trying to find that balance.
Yeah, I asked that question because I think when you're starting, you think you're the only person,
Yeah.
that may be struggling with this, but there are some common things, and that is the biggest mistake I made from the get-go was I didn't know when I started a business that I would be in sales.
Right.
And that's, bottom line, if you're selling anything, a service or a product, you are in sales. Even if you're a nonprofit, you still have to get, grants. You have to,
Yeah.
sell that. So
Yes.
it's really important to understand that marketing and sales. And that's, I think, frustrating for people. And when you have all this information coming in, like website, social media, SEO, not to mention the core of your business, doing that product or that service, I think that can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting about the sales part, but I could see that because that's something, I had to figure out too is, how do you do that?
Right. Yeah. And it takes time to figure that out. So I like being able to say like, hey, look, that's a great question. Let's pull from someone that's already here. And then of course there's, AMC is out there. They have great resources, and Flossie Hall, who started that, is on our page. And she, again, is so generous with her time. I can tag her in anything and she can come back quickly and she answers. And I think it's great to be able to offer those resources to people.
Yes. Yes. And you're not reinventing the wheel. If it's somebody
Exactly.
can answer it quickly, then that's the other thing too, is I had to Google what to Google. I didn't even know what to Google. I knew I had a problem, but I didn't know what this thing was called. And so I had to Google to figure out what that thing was called so I could Google the solution to fix that thing.
Right.
So,
and it's so nice for people to be able to come on this page and be like, I need this. And then you get 10 answers.
yes, I love that because it's if you have all these things that you're working on, you can't get to making the money.
Right.
which is the important part. Like if you're not bringing in the revenue, then it's going to be hard to stay open, and understanding how to get to that point quickly. So if you can shorten the curve on how to do a website so you can get your product listed on that website or your service, and that's huge, because it may have cost you $500 to help somebody help you do your website, but now whatever your
Right.
service is, you could make that back in 2 weeks or whatever it is. So I think that's really important. If you can get the help for free, especially, and
Yeah.
get up and running quicker, then that's what you need to do. So
Yeah, absolutely.
what does it take to be a member of the group?
So we really have opened this up to any military spouse, veteran, reserve, active duty, retired. We've grown it. It's over almost 1,000 members. Um, we've been playing around with, do we open it up to everybody? I want to put that out to the group to see. It is a little bit of a mix, right? We do some mix of sharing your business, and then we have some things that we throw in there that are resources and tools. And so I haven't quite figured out yet the balance between what do people want more of. But right now, any affiliation with the military will get you in.
Okay, that's good to know. So
Yes.
anybody
Yes.
can go check it out if you're military. Okay, I want to ask,
Yes.
what is your peak of being a mil spouse, and what is your pit?
Well, I think for me personally, I loved all of our 21 years in the military. I would have stayed longer. There wasn't a duty station that I didn't enjoy. There really weren't people I met that I didn't love. I loved the fact that we got to go to Japan for 2 years. But I think the pit is what most military spouses would say, right? It's starting over every single time. There were lots of times that I worked for very little money because I wanted that to work around our family schedule. And that was hard, right? It's hard to start and stop. But I will say with that, I have been given opportunities that I would not have otherwise. Would I have managed a budget anywhere else but showing up in Japan with no experience formally? Probably not. So I think with those pits, there also comes peaks. And I hope that I didn't take those for granted. But I still recognize that, it's hard for everybody to pick up and move. And as the spouse, you are that person that is getting everybody settled. You're getting kids registered in school. You're doing all those things for everybody plus yourself. And so it is hard. And I think it's good to recognize that it's hard. But then again, I was able to take these opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I'm grateful for that.
Yes, I love that. You're right. There are some pits of it all, but if you
Yes.
find the good in it, like, they can actually be a plus for you. I think that a lot of the frustrations of employment for me has landed me where I'm at now, is because
Right.
I just was so annoyed. I'm like, I got to figure out a better way. like this isn't gonna work
This
long
is not
term.
working. Yes,
Yes, yes.
exactly.
So I think that's really important, is to kind of see the good in it all. Well, I want to ask, what
Okay.
is your best PCS story? I know everybody's got one that's, maybe near and dear to your heart, maybe funny, maybe annoying.
Well, okay, so I will tell you the best one I have to tell you was 10 years ago. We were moving from Virginia to Kansas, and we stopped at 3 hours outside of Virginia in West Virginia in the only gas station in the Valley of the Mountains with no cell service, only to find out that my car did not start after we had stopped. So it was July and it was 100 degrees. And after figuring out, yes, we had to call a tow truck. So we call the tow truck. USAA says it'll be 2.5 hours before the tow truck can get here. So my husband says, well, I don't want you taking the kids somewhere by yourself. So stay here. He takes our children 30 miles up to the nearest town and waits. So I have no cell service. I have no ability to get a hold of him. I don't know what he's doing. So it turns out the tow truck did not get called the first time. So it was a 6-hour wait. And
Oh no.
At one point, there's like a gift shop in this place. And I'm telling the lady, I'm using their phone, and I'm telling the lady at USAA, my husband doesn't know where I am. He thinks I'm on my way. So we finally I got the tow truck, got the cell service. My husband says, meet me at the airport. They have a little regional airport. And I think we all have those moments in the military where you're like, I don't think normal people operate this way. When I'm in the airport with the tow truck, with my car on the lift, slanted, and we're digging all of our stuff out for the rental car, and left my car in West Virginia, and drove to Kansas. And it was 4th of July weekend. It was crazy. We can definitely look back on that now and laugh.
Yes, it really is just crazy stuff. I just feel like if you're PCSing, just plan on your car breaking down. Plan on your car breaking down. I don't care if it's brand new. And just if it doesn't break down, that's great. But you should plan on a PCS that's going to break down. It's like,
Exactly.
it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
well, I really, really appreciate you coming on Live with Lacey. It's been so nice to meet and see you in person.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody listening where they can learn more about you, the group, and what you're up to?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, just Meredith Neal. Our Facebook group is Mill Spouse Small Business. And you can go on there and request to join. And there's a couple different questions that you can answer, but I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. And I just have to tell you, I am so thankful and grateful to get to meet you. I've been following you for years, since you've been doing your podcast. Through the pandemic last year, every day I walked and I just listened to a different Lacey Langford podcast. And so I feel like I know you already. So it's great to meet you in person.
Yes, and thank you so much for listening and being a fan. And I appreciate that your willingness to connect with people. That's what has drawn me to you, that you've reached out to me, you've reached out to other people, and are bringing people in need the connections they need for business, because all mill spouses want to help give a leg up to other mill spouses that are trying to start a business. And so I think that's wonderful, the work you're doing. So I appreciate your kind words and for all that you're doing.
Well, thank you, Lacey. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Now we got to wrap this up. I appreciate Self for supporting this show and for the work they do to help others build credit and savings. You can learn more at Self.inc. And I want to give you a heads up from Self. I'm going to put it on the screen. And you can find the links to find and follow me and Self on social media in the description below. If you haven't already registered for my giveaway this week, you can find the links on Twitter at Finance Lacey or on Facebook under the Military Money Expert. Tonight at midnight is the deadline to register for a $100 Amazon gift card and 3 free coaching sessions with me. Be sure to tune in to Live with Lacey on Wednesday. I will be talking with Laura Early, the co-founder of Wise Advise and Assist Team. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you on Wednesday.